Hello, everybody. Oh wait, I forgot to put my microphone on.
Well, that doesn't work.
No. Let's, Corey, let's check.
I don't know that my mic is working either. We are all
right, let's check to see if people can hear us or not. Please, if you can hear us,
Hello.
please give us a sign. Okay, somebody said got it.
Jeez,
We're having some technical issues this morning.
We lost our cool intro music.
Yeah, we were supposed to have some lovely music to welcome you all in. That did not work. Sadly. But anyway,
it's funny because we tested every. Oh, you know what? You didn't even get your laptop out either and connect.
Oh, yeah.
We are all kinds of. All right. Well, bear with us today. We're gonna. It's almost like we were off for 2 weeks.
I know, it's crazy, isn't it?
Yeah.
I'm gonna sneak.
You know, I don't even think you need it. We can.
I'm gonna go get it.
All right. I will. We were just talking today. I said that you're going to get a little view of how the sausage is made, and Luke said he never heard that term before. I'm curious if anyone else has. But welcome to Tech Talk Live. I'm Corey Ballard. I am an assistive technology specialist here at Vision Forward. The man climbing under the table and is now back is Luke Scriven, also an assistive technology specialist.
Hello.
Here. We do Tech Talk Lives every other Thursday, so twice a month, 11 a.m. Central Time. Thanks for joining us. We do it via Zoom, but also broadcast via YouTube Live. Our sessions are available for ACVREP credit, so if you need any continuing education credits, we are providing them through ACVREP. The way you're going to do it is you're going to head over to vision-forward.org/Tech Talk Live, and you'll see a link there under the ACVREP resources heading, and you'll fill in your evaluation, including the entrance and exit code, which we'll get to in just a bit. I'm freestyling while Luke gets himself in.
You're doing a wonderful job.
But you'll put in your entrance and exit code, you'll pay your $10, and you'll get a certificate in the mail for your ACVREP credit. We'll cover that entrance code in just a moment, like I mentioned. I'll let you know what it is now. It is SCREEN, and we'll put it up on the screen in a little bit, but it is SCREEN, SCREEN. Now, you might think you know what the exit code is by what our topic is today, but I'm going to give you a little warning. It's not what you think, so make sure you
Cunning, very cunning.
Make sure you go through our whole Tech Talk Live today.
Corey, tell us, what is our topic today? I saw somebody was asking in the chat.
Oh, well, great question. Our topic today, we're actually doing a two-part series. It's going to be this week and our next session, which will be in 2 weeks. We are talking about 4 strategies for web browsing with a screen reader. And so we're going to be talking about 4 strategies that we find that make browsing web pages easier with a screen reader. And this is going to be geared not only for screen reader users, but also individuals who do training or...
Excuse me.
You don't want to mute both. You're also for those who support screen reader users. So if you're either a trainer or a support staff of an individual or a student or client who uses a screen reader, this will be beneficial for you as well. So today we're going to be starting with our first 2 strategies. And then next session in 2 weeks, we'll cover the second 2 strategies, and we may have a 5th one in there, a bonus strategy too that we can talk about.
That's a new one on me.
Yeah, well, I'll figure out what it is.
That would be throwing the computer against the wall until it does what you want it to do.
Yes, yeah. That's a good strategy.
That's my favorite strategy.
Typically works.
Yeah.
So again, today's entrance code, I don't know if you have a chance to throw it up.
I did, it's up there. Yep,
perfect.
Yep,
and if you could throw it in the chat as well, too.
Indeed.
Awesome. Today's opening code is SCREEN. So Luke and I will be tag teaming today's session. He is going to be starting our session with the first strategy, and then I'll be taking the second strategy. And really the way that we've kind of devised these strategies is really the same way that we introduce them when we do training with clients. And so we kind of start with the most basic strategy, and then we'll start to build off of that one as we move to strategy 2, 3, and 4. And the reason I think that we talk about saying, strategies is that it's really impossible to train somebody on web pages. Unlike Microsoft Word or Outlook, where the content may change, but the structure and the way it looks and the way it acts is always the same. Even though, let's say in Outlook, if you've got 2 different emails, the content's different, but how you work with them and the way it's laid out is the same. That's not true about web pages. Every single web page you go to is different from the prior one. So it's not that we train individuals on specific web pages, although we do that in cases where people are using specific web pages for work or school. But more what we do is teach them these strategies so that when they leave our training and move on, they can handle unfamiliar websites on their own.
And there's a lot of websites out there.
Yes,
more every day.
It does, yes,
yeah.
it is. I lost count.
Yeah, me too. I was up to a billion, and after that it got a bit difficult.
You didn't want to start over again?
No, I'd had enough at that point. Okay, now quick question before we go on any further. For the people who are able to see the screen, do they see me and Corey with our lovely background, or do they see just a big grey screen that says Luke Scriven? If anybody could put that in the chat. Somebody said yes. Oh, they see the jaws. Okay. Susan says, I see 2 guys and a shark.
Yes, that is correct. That is good. Does anybody know why we have chosen the shark as our background today? We'll give a bonus point for anybody that wants to throw. And speaking of that, please feel free to put any comments or questions into the chat, or you can also use the Q&A. I think most people end up using chat, but remember, if you use the chat, both Luke and people, because I think last time it when you put in your chat, make sure you're sending it to everyone, panelists and all attendees. You don't want to send just private messages. I mean, I guess you could, but make sure you're sending it to everybody so that they see it.
Yeah, and I'm seeing a lot of people are in the chat, so I think people have got the hang of that. And we are also sending messages to everybody. So
good. Did we get any answer to our bonus question of
we
why we've
had
chosen?
We had as many answers to our question as there are web pages on the internet.
Okay, good.
Yeah,
any right answers?
No, they were all totally wrong. Okay. No, I'm lying. They were all correct. It is indeed our reference to Jaws. And I'm glad to say that the shark is over Corey's side of the desk rather than over my side of the desk, because it does look quite hungry. So
it's convenient.
Yeah, it's very convenient.
I'm the one that's gonna take the brunt of it.
Hey,
I'll take it for the team.
If I get to set things up, this is the way it's going to go. I'm afraid.
That'll work.
All right, so we're going to take a look at our first strategy now. I'm keeping my fingers crossed that this is going to work, considering the technical issues that we've been having today. So I will want you guys to let us know if you aren't getting any audio or if the video is messed up or anything like that.
So you switch the scene?
Yep, so I'm about to switch the scene. So here we go. Now you're going to get a glimpse at the back end here while I switch the scene over. Let's just go ahead and minimize OBS there. Okay. Oh, yeah, and let's go ahead and minimize Zoom. Oh, no, we can't minimize Zoom. Okay, that's fine. That's fine. We're going to open up Chrome here.
Make sure you turn on JAWS.
Yes, I'm going to do that in a second.
Perfect.
Oh, I've got it all going on.
I'll just talk with the shark.
Okay. All right, so far you guys should be seeing a web page up on the screen. And now we're going to turn on JAWS, and I'm hoping that you're going to be able to hear JAWS
full speech.
Well. Okay, so please let me know if you hear anything.
Search by voice button. Google search button. I'm feeling lucky button. Google search button. From Shannon Aylesworth to everyone calling yes.
We are good to go.
Okay. From Cynthia Bergeron to all Google.
So, here we are. We
to
have gone to a web browser. This is
Terry Davis has lowered hand.
Google Chrome. And we are going to be taking a look at our first strategy for navigating a web page. And this is our most basic strategy. And this is what we are going to call arrowing. So using the arrow keys on the keyboard to navigate through a web page. Now, there's a few advantages and a few disadvantages with arrowing, so we're going to talk a little bit about those. One quick note, though, Corey wanted me to mention something specifically about when we first go to web pages, which I think is a good tip. He recommends that when we first go to a web page, we make sure that we're at the top of that web page. So that we know exactly where we're situated before we start doing anything else. And in order to make sure that we are at the top of our web page with JAWS, or with any screen reader, I would imagine, we can do a control home, and that will put us at the top of the web page. So as I came onto this web page, I did a control home, and now we are at the top of the web page. And from here, we're going to start using our arrow keys. So for those of you who are able to see the browser window, you will see what element of the web
From
page
Greg
we're
Wansnina
moving
to all panelists,
as
do you
we
suggest
use the arrow keys, because it will be highlighted. So at the moment, we're at the top of the page. Let's start to use our down arrow to move down through the page.
Link about. Link store. Link Gmail. Link images. Google Apps button collapsed. Google account : vision forward and focus left _ vision forward dean@gmail.com right _ button. Search.
Okay.
Edit combo.
And so as we moved through here, we started to hear the different elements. Now, we are on Google's website at the moment, and so the nice thing about Google's website is it's very straightforward in terms of its layout. And as we use the arrow key, we moved one by one through the different elements on the page until we got to the combo box where we can go ahead and type in something that we want to search for. Now, if I use my up arrow, it's going to reverse us through those same items. Let me just go ahead and hit the up arrow a couple of times here.
Search. Google account : vision forward and focus left _ Google Apps button link images.
And so on and so forth. So I can navigate either way, backward or forward. Now, while we're at this point, let's just talk about the layout of web pages, because the way that we see them visually and the way that we access them with the screen reader aren't necessarily going to be the same thing. And so when we're looking at a web page, we see different elements in different areas of the screen. And so we could kind of tell somebody visually, you need to be in the top left, you need to be in the top right, you need to be in the middle, so on and so forth. But for a screen reader, it doesn't work like that, because the screen reader sees everything lined up in a row. What's the best way to phrase that, Corey?
I usually say it's like it's linear, and it's just a vertical up and down list.
Just a list, yeah, exactly, yeah. So the screen reader is parsing all of the information from the website and just putting it into a vertical list, which is why the arrow keys up and down work, because we're just moving through that list one item at a time. If you imagine that you're using Microsoft Word, for example, to navigate through the sentences on a page, you would just use the up and down arrow keys, and it's exactly the same here on an internet site as well. So if you are training somebody who is blind to use a screen reader, then giving those kind of directional cues that you might give somebody who's sighted aren't so useful. And also visually, we might see as we arrow down that we're jumping around the web page. We're not necessarily moving in the way that we might expect, depending on how the web page is formatted. So there's a couple of things to just bear in mind there. All right, so we're going to go ahead and go down to the search box, and we're going to see if we can do a search here.
Google Apps button collapsed. Google account : vision search. Edit combo space.
Are we in the combo box there? Yes, I am. All right, so here I am into our combo box, and we're having to listen to JAWS's output over a pair of speakers, a pair of headphones on the table here. So makes it a little bit trickier. But here we are in the combo box. I'm going to go ahead and do a search for vision forward, because I hear it's a wonderful place. And we'll hit enter to carry out our search here. Okay, so here we are now. We have
Google search. Vision.
We have done our search. Now, as I said before, we're going to hit Control Home, and that's going to take us up to the top of this internet page.
Vision forward - Google search.
There we go. So now we're at the top of this page. Now we're going to take a look at arrowing on this page. We did find that it was quite useful for the Google homepage, because there wasn't a lot of stuff on that page, so arrowing wasn't too laborious a process. But now we're on a more complicated web page. There's a lot more things on this web page. Let's see how long it takes us to get down to the first search result here, which is Vision Forward, which is our website. So I'm going to use my down arrow, and we'll see how long it takes us to get there.
Heading level 1. Link skip to main content. Link accessibility help. Link accessibility feedback. Google Apps button. Google account Vision. Link graphic. Google search. Vision forward edit combo. Clear button. Clear. Search by voice. Google search button. Heading level 1. Search navigation region. Link maps. Link news. Link shopping. Link images. More button. Settings button. Tools button. Navigation read. About 700. Heading level 1 ads. Heading level 3. Link vision forward dash vision rehabilitation.
Aha, and there we are. So we saw I could just use my down arrow, and we did manage to get to the link that we wanted here in our search results, but it was kind of a laborious process. I had to press down. How many times did I press down? I know you were counting that.
I did 28 and a half.
So I had to press the down arrow 28 and a half times in order to get to this first link here, which is the one that I wanted. And obviously, if we wanted a link further down the list, we would have had to continue pressing our down arrow. And that highlights the problem that we have with our down arrow, which is it's not very efficient. It's not a very efficient way of navigating around a web page. Now, in my experience, and I'm sure in yours as well, Corey, when we're training clients, sometimes using the arrow keys is the only skill that they will actually know. And so they will be using the internet, but it just takes them such a long time to do everything. And obviously that can be quite frustrating. Arrow keys are a good tool, but definitely not the most efficient way of doing things. Now, obviously, as we go on, we're going to be investigating some more efficient ways of doing things. But the arrow keys, even once we've learned some more efficient ways of doing things, the arrow keys are still useful because there's a couple of things that they do well. Number one, if we go to a new web page that we've never been on before, one thing that we were probably going to want to do is get our bearings on that web page. We're going to want to learn what is on that page. And there is a couple of ways of doing that, which we'll be talking about as we go along. We can navigate by the different elements. We could bring up like a list of links and so on and so forth. But if we want to just hear everything that's on that page, we can just use the arrow keys. And again, it's going to be slow going, but what it will do is it will tell us every single element of that page, and we can start to build a mental map of that particular web page. And I think building a mental map is definitely the key to more efficient website use. Would you say, Corey?
Yeah, I think that for me personally, and I find myself to be a pretty good at browsing around websites, and I think what I attribute it to is I am constantly building a mental map in my head. And for me, it's not so much, visually left, right. For me, it's top and bottom. It's okay, this link here is below this other link here. Now, obviously, visually on the screen, that might not be true, but from a screen reader standpoint, that's that mental map you're building is just basically a vertical list, and where does this element land on that list?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, and I think for a lot of people, myself included, navigating the internet for the most part is a case of there are 10 or 20 different websites that I will commonly go to. And the better my mental map is of those websites, the more efficiently I can navigate around them. So using the arrow keys is definitely a first good step in helping us to build up that mental map. Now, the other thing is that the arrow keys are a useful tool to use in conjunction with some of the other methods that we're going to be talking about a little bit later, either in this session or in the next session. So, for example, I might know that if I go 3 headings down on a web page, that then I can use my down arrow from there to get to a specific element that I want to get to, and that's the quickest way of getting to that particular element and things like that. So arrow keys are definitely essential, even once we know these more advanced techniques of internet page navigation.
Yeah, as we talked at the beginning, that we are starting out with strategy 1, but it really is a building block, and you will use all 4 strategies together.
Yeah, exactly.
You really can't use one without the other.
No, 5 strategies. Don't forget, you promised us the secret.
You know what?
Strategy.
Let's go 6.
Is this like a competition?
Yeah,
Who can come up with the most?
Down to like 20 strategies by the end of the session.
Strategy 1 is start your web browser.
Yes, exactly.
It's always an important first step. Cool. So that's the arrow keys. Being the sighted individual here, I got to talk about the easy one, so I'm quite happy about that. But hopefully that gave you an idea of why those are useful, but also why they're not useful at the same time.
Yeah.
Just a quick question from the chat here. We did have a question from Greg who asks if we suggest a particular web browser with JAWS or NVDA. I think you're a Chrome fan, is that correct?
At this point, you're the top three, and you could probably kind of, in my opinion, Chrome and Firefox are interchangeable. Either one would be just fine, and in a lot of ways they're quite similar from a keyboard command standpoint. And then the third one that still I think is very good is the newer Microsoft Edge.
Yeah.
That also is working quite well. So again, Firefox, Chrome would be my top two, and really either one is fine. And then Edge would be the third.
An interesting point I think there as well is that sometimes a particular website will work better on one browser compared to another one.
Yeah.
So I mean, you kind of need to have a selection.
Yeah, I mean, I can't tell you on a daily basis how many times, for any screen reader user who's going to be browsing the internet, you really need to have a well-equipped toolbox, which would include the three
Luke Scriven
browsers
started to answer live.
and as many screen readers as you can get.
Yeah.
If you can afford JAWS and you use JAWS, great, but you should also have NVDA as a free option as well. Or if you're an NVDA user, maybe having JAWS, even the 40-minute demo mode is a good idea, because a lot of times you're figuring out which combination gives you the best access, which again adds to the whole complexity of browsing the internet.
Yeah, I mean, internet browsing is pretty much the most difficult thing I think that a screen reader user would be doing, or at least your average screen reader user would be doing. So
I would say so for sure.
Yeah. Okay, so strategy number one is in the bag.
Boom.
Yes, well, we should have had a sound effect really. Ding-ling. Okay, there you go, good enough. Now I'm going to pass over
From
to
Greg
Corey,
Bronson,
and
panelist.
he
Colin,
is
thanks,
going
Corey.
to talk about strategy number two.
Perfect. Thank you. All right. So we are going to move on, and we're going to be using a lot of strategy one as we begin to talk about strategy number two. And strategy number two is starting to do what's called element browsing. So basically, when we talk about elements on a web page, we're talking about building blocks. Every bit of element, every bit of a website kind of works together to build the page overall. So for example, some elements may be just a block of text, just straight text on a web page is an element. A link is an element. An edit box, for example, the search edit box on Google is an element. A heading, a button. All of these are elements that make up the overall web page. Now, as we saw with using the arrow keys, although it's a great way to learn the structure of a web page, it's not very efficient. And obviously, screen reader developers also realized very quickly that using your arrow keys isn't the greatest way of doing it. And so they had designed into JAWS and into screen readers. And let me take a quick little side jag, and we should have maybe did this at the top of the program here today, that although we're using JAWS in this demonstration, about 99% of what we are covering is for any screen reader, if you're a JAWS user or an NVDA user. I can't say the same about VoiceOver on a Mac, because they're the way that they use their screen reader and the commands are very different. But Windows-based screen readers, most of these commands are going to be the same across the board. So no worries if you're a JAWS user or an NVDA user. Most of this will carry over. So all of these elements, the screen reader developers just realize that going by arrow isn't the best way to do it. So what they had done is just developed this element browsing. And so, for example, I'm going to go back up to the top of the page here in Google. And in the last example, Luke showed down arrowing all the way to that search box in Google. And it was probably, 10-ish arrow presses down to get there. And we got there. And that's okay. We were able to do it. But let's use an element instead. We know that that search box on Google here is an edit box. We know it's an edit field where we can type in text. And so we're going to use the command on our screen reader, the letter E, to move to the first edit box. Now, when we do this element browsing, please realize that it'll take you to the next element type from where you're currently located on the web page. So if you're in the middle of the web page and there's an edit box above you and below you, pressing E is going to take you to the next edit box down the page. So it'll take the one below you, not to the one above you. So this is where that control home can really play a key role as well, because now you know where you are. There's nothing above you, everything is below you. So let's hit E.
Search edit combo. Vision
And
forward.
you see that we jump immediately to that search edit combo, that search edit box. So one key press just took away 10 key presses that we had to do for the arrow key. And that's what's super important when we talk about using a screen reader, especially on the internet. Efficiency is important with a screen reader user. It's true that in most cases, things take us a little bit longer with a screen reader. So if we can be more efficient and we can hit the least amount of keys as possible, that's our goal. So rather than hitting 10, we were able to hit one key to get to the same exact place. That's important, but the other important piece of it is we also skipped over a bunch of information that we don't need and information that could possibly confuse a user as well too. If they don't need to know the store, the images, the Google Apps button, the account button, if that's not why they're on this page, then why are we don't really need to introduce that. It's just going to confuse them and be cognitive overload. So instead, one press got us exactly where we need to be.
I think definitely for users who are newer to screen reader use, they can get overloaded, like you say, by all of the information which the screen reader is giving out.
Which is a lot.
Yeah, which is a lot. I mean, it's everything. Really.
It
From
really
Jason
is.
Abbott to everyone, Colin, when you get time.
definitely,
Can you discuss any issues you may have heard regarding job?
Thank you. Definitely having the ability to kind of cut out some of that information, like you say, in terms of cognitive overload, it definitely is helpful.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Now, the other thing, so we landed on...
Search, vision forward, edit combo.
We landed on this edit box here, but we also can't just, even though we're on this edit box, we can't just begin typing, because remember, by default, JAWS is in what we kind of call this non-forms mode or browse mode, where letters move around by element. We hit E for edit field. So I can't start typing here. Instead, I need to hit enter on this edit box first in order to go into forms mode.
Enter. Search
You hear
region.
a little pop noise. Now JAWS, we have told JAWS, hey, I don't want
From
you
Luke
to
Scriven to everyone,
navigate
Colin
when
will do
I hit
Jason.
a letter. I want you to actually type. We're actually entering in text. Now we already have Vision Forward written in here, and I can use my left and right arrow keys.
I-S-I-O-N.
I can review what each
November.
letter is in there. And we'll go ahead and hit enter again, and that'll just perform the
Enter.
search again for the same thing.
Escape.
Now we're going to go ahead and do a
Six
control
region,
home
vision.
to go up to the top.
Vision forward dash.
Now remember, last time Luke down arrowed 28.5 times to get to that search result. And that first search result he actually got to was technically, I think, an ad.
It was an ad, yeah.
But doesn't really matter in the fact that it got us to where we wanted to go. But now I know as a screen reader user that all of Google's search results are their own heading. And usually I tell people that are just learning a screen reader, a heading is basically, I think of it as a heading, headline on a newspaper. It's usually bigger font, and it usually tells you what the information below it is about. So when you're looking at a newspaper, you see the headline, and then you read the text under it, and obviously that text under it is whatever that kind of headline was talking about. Headings on a computer or a web page are very similar. So in this case, I'm going to hit my H key until I hear something that says web results, so that I know that I'm getting close to my search results. So I'm going to hit H.
Accessibility links heading level 1.
Okay, well, that's not my heading. That's at heading level 1. We'll talk about the different numbers in just a second. H again.
Search modes heading level 1.
H again.
Ads heading level 1. Vision forward dash vision rehabilitation heading level 3 link.
So that was the one that Luke got to underneath the ads, but I'm going to keep going.
Search results heading level 1.
Aha, there we got search results. Okay, that tells me something. That tells me that I'm getting close now to my actual Google search results.
Web results with site links heading level 2.
And one more.
Vision forward : homepage visited heading level 3 link.
There's the actual, technically the first search result here, and we were able to get to it by heading. So by hitting our H key, I'm able to move through these different headings. Now you may have heard my screen reader give different numbers: heading level 1, heading level 2, heading level 3. Honestly, in most cases, the number isn't all that important, but really what the numbers represent is that if headings are used correctly, they're done in a hierarchical, is that a word?
Good job. Yep.
Hierarchical way. And so the example I usually give is, let's say you go to a website and heading level 1 might be recipes. And then under that, there's heading level 2, which is dessert recipes. Ooh. So dessert is a type of recipe. And then heading level 3 could be chocolate chip cookie recipe, which is a type of dessert, which is a type of recipe.
I would have put dessert recipes right at the top, just so you know.
Yeah, probably. That would have probably made more sense. And then under chocolate chip recipes, it could be grandma's famous chocolate chip recipe, heading level 4, which is a type of chocolate chip recipe, and so forth. So you can see that they're kind of used in a hierarchical manner.
I just feel like dessert recipes should always be at the top of any page.
Oh yeah, I agree. No matter where you, bbc.com, dessert recipes right at the top. But the fact of the matter, in most cases, the number of the heading doesn't matter all of that much. The more important thing is we're using that H key to move around. Now, in this case, the Google search results page here had a lot of headings above it. I'm going to give an example in a little bit when we go to a different web page where you'll see where headings work even more to your benefit.
I just thought of something which
Okay.
I'm going to say, but it's probably going to sound stupid.
All right, mute your mic.
Just kidding. What I was going to say is one important strategy for using a screen reader is learning how to listen.
Oh, there's no question.
I mean, it sounds obvious, but just thinking about clients that I've had in the past.
Yeah.
And this actually goes back a little bit to what we were saying about the amount of information that JAWS gives you.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it can be overloaded and people will stop listening.
Yes.
Yeah.
And really, so yeah, absolutely. And here at Vision Forward, when we train individuals on a screen reader, the internet is always last. Yeah. And the reason for that is, number one, they need to really build up all those core skills of navigation and you kind of build up those skills before you get to the internet, which unfortunately everyone who wants to start with the internet.
Yeah.
And number two, the big thing is all of those core skills part of that is that listening piece. Mm-hmm. And you'll find that when you become you'll know you're a really good screen reader user when you start to hear what you need to hear and ignore everything else.
Yeah.
I can't tell you how many times I will work on my computer and someone will say, I don't understand how you can do that. It says so much. And honestly, I don't even hear I only hear what I need it to say. Yep. And I just completely tune out everything else. And you're right, that is such an important skill. Because and a lot of times JAWS is also giving you hints on what to do.
Yeah.
But a lot of times they give them at the end, and at that point they've just shut down.
Yeah.
It's like I've stopped listening. All right, so we've talked a little bit about two different elements so far: E for edit boxes, H for headings. Now let's see this a little bit more in action. Let's go to a Vision Forward web page.
Control
here.
L, address and search.
So we're going to go to
Vision dash. Cheyenne dash N-O-I-F-V blank home page. Vision
forward.org/ tech talk live.
Tech Talk
familiar
Live.
for that.
Enter vision
I think
forward.org / Tech Talk Live.
Okay.
Tech Talk
so
live dash Vision Tech.
let's pretend
Tech Talk live dash.
it's pretend time. We've never come to this website before. Now we've obviously come. We didn't go to just the home page, right? We went to vision-forward.org / Tech Talk Live. So we went to a specific page on this website, which tells us that we're here for a specific reason. We are here for the Tech Talk Live information. But we'll say we've never been to this page before. Well, we have a couple different options here depending on where you're at and what you're comfortable with. First, we could use strategy one that Luke talked about, and we could simply do our control home, make sure we're at the top of the page, and we could start our down arrow process and eventually get to where we want to be. Now, one of the reasons, obviously outside of the inefficiency, there's also another issue that can happen when you use our arrow keys. And this happens a lot for beginner users. And I just want to show it here because it's sort of important. Let's say I begin down arrowing on this web page.
Same page link, skip to main content. Visited link, graphic vision forward association hub link, donate.
Here's the donate link. I come to this, and let's say I am feeling very generous and I want to donate. So, okay, I know it's a link. We heard Jaws say the word link and then say the name of the link, donate. So I'm going to go ahead and hit enter to activate this link.
Tech Talk Live Dash Vision.
Okay, cool.
Join in
We've
supporting
come
our
to
mission.
a new page here.
Join in
I'm
supporting
going to go to the
join in
top of the page, and then I'm going to begin down arrowing again because now I want to find the donate information so that I can donate. So I'm going to start to down arrow.
Same page link, skip to main content. Visited link, graphic vision forward visited link, donate.
Huh. Well, here's donate again.
But wait,
okay,
Corey, didn't we already come here?
Yeah, well, this is where it can get confusing for people, is that for those just starting out on web pages, they don't realize that a lot of times the top third or half of a web page is always consistent on every page within that site. So they would hit enter on donate again, even though it said visited link this time. Again, that's that cognitive overload. They're so focused on getting to where they want to go, they don't notice it said visited. So they hit enter on donate again, and then up arrow, and then start to down arrow, and then, it didn't work again. Hit enter on donate. And they become stuck in this loop. And that's, again, where that down arrow can get confusing in the fact that until you realize, oh, okay, the top half of this web page always, it's kind of repetitive, a main navigation, a search bar, you can start to get confused. And so let's go back to
Increase
our Tech
font
Talk
size.
Live
Link
page
increase.
here.
Tech Talk Live. Tech
So
Talk.
now, rather than down arrowing and getting kind of confused, again, we came to this web page for a specific reason. We wanted to learn about Tech Talk Live. So what I'm going to do as a screen reader user is the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to keep my fingers crossed that the creator of this web page used headings and they used them correctly. I'm hoping that they used headings to kind of denote where the content or the main content of this web page sort of starts. So I'm going to keep my fingers crossed. I'm going to hit H at the top of the page here.
Tech Talk Live heading level 1.
Perfect. I heard Tech Talk Live. Well, that's what we're here to do. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to treat this again as like a newspaper headline. I navigated to the headline and now I want to read the article or I want to read the content underneath this Tech Talk Live heading because that was obviously the heading I was looking for. So I'll begin to down arrow.
Join us every other Thursday at 11 o'clock Central Standard Time for Tech Talk Live. This B-weekly event features demonstrations and discussion
And
of
I
assistive
now
technology
start
for
to
people
get the information. Let me just keep down arrowing for a moment.
with vision loss. Join hosts Corey and Luke via Zoom or on the phone in the chat. Link register for Tech Talk Live.
Okay, there's a register.
Heading level 2 Tech Talk Live resources.
And here we have Tech Talk Live resources. So let's say the next time that we come to this web page, I'm going to go back up to the top.
Tech Talk Live.
Let's say this is a page I come to often. Let's say that I come here every 2 weeks because I'm going to pay for my ACVREP credits. This time, rather than hitting H and landing on Tech Talk Live and then down, 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 down arrow, I also heard that Tech Talk Resources was its heading as well. So this time I'll hit H.
Tech Talk Live heading level 1.
And then H again.
Tech Talk Live resources heading level 2.
And now I skipped over that little paragraph, that description of Tech Talk Live because I didn't need it. So again, it's twofold here. Number one, it's using those elements to navigate the heading, but even more importantly, it's using your ears and listening and saying, oh, this is a heading. Okay, next time if I come back here, I know that I can move by headings
And
instead.
that's exactly that mental map which we were talking about earlier on.
Yeah.
You started now to build up a mental map of this web page and remembering, okay, if I go 2 headings in, that's going to get me closer to where I need to be.
Yep, absolutely.
Mm-hmm.
Now, that's
Tech Talk.
so we've done kind of edit boxes, we've done headings. There are more elements we can move around by as well. Let's say, for example, we've come to this web page here, but we want to go check out something else on this site. Most websites use some kind of main navigation where they have the list of main categories so you can kind of drill in and find what you're looking for. In this case, let's say we want to learn about computer training here at Vision Forward. And so first what I want to do is I want to look for the main navigation. Well, the way we can do it, obviously we could go to the top of the page and we could down arrow until we found the main navigation. That's one way of doing it. But let's try to do it a little bit more efficiently by using an element called regions. Regions are put in by web developers, and basically what a region is it's invisible on a page. A sighted individual doesn't really see the regions. But basically what it is the developer is saying, okay, this group of elements, either this group of text or these group of links, are all together. They're all part of the same region. So for example, if it's the main navigation, let's say it's 5 links, we're going to put these 5 links into a region together. And then the developer names that region whatever they want it to be. So what I can do on this web page, I'm at the top here, if I wanted to look for the main navigation or something similar to that, whatever the verbiage might be, again, it's going to be different on each site you go to, I'm going to use my R key to move by region. So I'm going to hit R.
Visited link graphic Vision Forward Association Home.
R again.
Utility menu navigation region.
Utility navigation region. Okay, well, that's not exactly what I was looking for. That's not main navigation or something similar. It's kind of a smaller little region, the utility. So let's hit R again.
Main menu navigation region.
Okay, well, I heard main menu navigation region. Well, that makes sense. This is the main menu. That's what I was looking for. So just like we did before with headings, I used a keyboard shortcut to move by element, R for region in this case. Now I'll start to down arrow and see what is within this region.
List of 5 items, vertical bar. Link collapsed menu store vertical bar.
Okay, so here's store,
Link collapsed menu services vertical bar.
services, and so forth. Now I'm going to keep down arrowing for a moment because I also want you to hear when the region ends.
Link collapsed menu information vertical bar. Link collapsed menu news and events vertical bar. Link collapsed menu support us vertical bar. List end. Main menu navigation region end.
So the screen reader will also report when that region ends. Now, I used my R key to move by region, but if you simply used your up and down arrow keys for the first time when you come onto that page, you'll also hear the regions begin and end. So that region just ended. Let's do another down arrow and let's see if we start another region.
Search. Edit. Search button. Main region.
Aha, there's main region. Visually, that's not on the screen, but the screen reader is telling us here's the main region. So from that main region title, we could probably figure out this is like the main content of the page. So whenever we go to a new page, most likely that new content will be displayed within the main region.
I hear that navigating by region is the favorite method of pirates.
Region?
Yeah, because they get to go, "Arr!"
Dad jokes.
Oh dear.
That was a good one. All right. So let's go back up. We mentioned we were looking for computer training. So I'm going to go back up to our main menu navigation to services.
Search button. Edit. Search. Main list. Link collapsed menu news and event. Link collapsed menu information. Link collapsed menu services vertical bar.
And you'll also see as I'm using my arrow key, as you get more and more comfortable, you don't have to sit and let the screen reader read everything that's on, quote unquote, that line when you hit that arrow key. Just simply hit the arrow key again and it'll interrupt itself. So you can start to move around more quickly. So let's hit enter to expand this option.
Enter. Banner region. Main menu navigation.
And then let's see if we can find computer training, which I should be under adults.
List of 3 items nesting level 1. Link community education. Link education and training.
So we'll keep going down.
List of 2 items nesting level. Link children and youth. Link adults.
There's adults.
List and nesting level 2.
So we're going to have a nested list underneath adults.
Link support groups. List and nesting level 1. Vertical bar. Link collapsed menu information vertical bar.
Go on.
Wait, house?
Yeah, what
Vertical
the heck?
list and link support groups.
I guess they don't like us.
List and net link adults.
All right, let's do adults instead. That used to be there.
Enter.
Aw.
List with
No,
3
been
items.
banished.
List with 2
We have
items.
been
Adults
banished.
link.
Look at that.
Adults dash vision
All
forward.
right, so we've come to a new web page.
Adults dash vision.
And what we can do, again, rather than down arrowing, let's keep our fingers crossed and see if they used headings correctly. We're on the adults page, so if I hit H, I'm hoping to hear something that pertains to adults.
Adults heading level 1.
Aha, perfect. Let's do that. Let's start to down arrow now.
Woman at her desktop computer. Smart Vision Forward offers training, tools, and strategies to help adults with
But
vision
we're
loss lead
interested
activity.
more in computer training, so let's keep coming down.
Services include colon. List of 7 items. Bullet R. Link low vision services.
Okay, that was a link, so we know that's going to take us to another page, but it was low vision services.
Help to maximize your remaining vision. Bullet R. Link daily living program.
No, not daily living.
Introduces new approaches to bullet link communications training.
No.
Helps with writing and note-take bullet link technology training.
Hey, there we go. Why aren't we at the top of the list?
Yeah, that's a good point. We should talk to somebody.
All right, we'll hit enter on technology.
Enter. Main region. Article
Add a
region.
new page.
List with
Control home up to the
2.
top.
Technology train.
And we'll do our H again for headings because we know that worked in the past. So let's try it one more time.
Technology training and
There
demonstration
it
heading level.
is. Arrow down to start reading.
Vision forward assistive technology specialists with an older woman at a computer image.
You'll
Craft the
never
Technology
guess
and
who's in
Education
that
Center
image.
connects
Yeah,
people with
you.
vision loss to
No,
possibility.
you.
Okay. Am I the trainer or the older woman?
I'll leave that up to other people to decide.
There's alt text telling us.
Vision forward's technology.
So now you can see, now I can start to down arrow. So again, by using these 2 strategies, arrow key and heading, or element browsing, I'm able to move around this web page much faster and much easier than if I would only use strategy 1 by going down, 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 and so forth.
Indeed. Would you say that regions, edit boxes, and headings are the types of navigation that you use the most?
I would say in most cases, regions and headings are going to be the top 2 for navigation purposes.
Yes.
If you're doing general navigation, for me, headings is always number 1. When I land on a website, first thing I always do is I'm hitting H to find the heading to whatever the information that pertains to me. And then down arrow to start reading it. Then I'll move on to regions if I need to get somewhere quicker, if it's to the main navigation or something like that. Now there's a lot of other elements, and those other elements don't really come into effect until you are more filling out a form. So let's show an example of that. Let's go back up to the top of the page and go to that donate link. Now,
Hello?
Main region. Article region. Technology
there
train.
we go. We know from before that I down arrowed a few times and got to the donate link, but we also know from the last time we landed on it, it said it was a visited link. So rather than it just saying link, it this time says visited link because it's telling us that we have gone to that page in the past or visited it. So I can also use that as an element. I can use V to jump to visited links.
Visited link graphic vision forward association home.
One more.
Visited link donate.
There it is. So 2 presses of the V key, I was able to jump around by visited links as well. I'll hit enter to go to
Enter.
the donate
Technology
page.
training and demonstration dash vision forward.
All
Banner
right,
region.
so now we have our donate
Join
page
in.
up. And
Join
the
in.
reason I want to
Join in.
show this is on this donate page here, it's a long form. And there's many different elements that make up a form. And so let's talk a little bit about those and how we jump to them. First and foremost, the first element that we
From Greg
land
Wozniak to all
on this
panelists, colon would
form
exactly
here,
as a nesting level.
stop talking, is a radio button. So a radio button is basically gives you a number of different options and you can only choose one of those. So in this case, the first radio button, if I remember correctly on this form, it's been a while since I've donated to Vision Forward, was asking you how much you wanted to donate. Now your first instinct might be, well, a radio button, that's R. Well, but we know regions is R. So in this case, radio button is going to be A. So if I hit my A key,
$1,000 radio button not checked. 1 of 6.
so I heard a couple pieces of information here. I heard I heard $1,000 radio button unchecked. one of 6. So that tells me, first of all, I landed on $1,000 is the option here.
Which I think we should check.
Oh yeah, for sure. Oh, I'm going to do other and put more in. And I heard that it's unchecked, so I know, okay, it's not currently selected. And then I also heard one of 6, so that tells me that there are 6 different options within this radio button. So at this point, I could hit A again to go to the next one. What I typically do, because I know these are grouped together, there's 6 of them, I simply just use my down arrow to go to the next one. So let's see what the second option is.
$500 radio button not checked. 2 of 6.
This is $500, unchecked, 2 of 6.
$100 radio button checked. 3 of 6.
And so forth. Now let's go back to 1,000.
$1,000 radio.
And we want to select this. I'm going to hit my space key.
Space. Main region. $1,000 radio button checked. 1 of 6.
Now you heard that it said $1,000 radio button check. So now JAWS or the screen reader lets you know that the status has changed. So that's a radio button. Now, one thing to remember with a radio button is let's now choose
$100 radio.
100 instead. I'll select that.
Space. $100 radio button checked.
Now, because I chose $100, if I go back to 1,000,
$1,000 radio button not checked.
you see it's not checked. You can only select one of those 6 at a time. So as soon as you choose something else, the first option you selected will be deselected and the new option will be selected. That's radio buttons. There's also check boxes. And to move to check boxes, it's X. So if I hit the X key,
Make this a monthly gift checkbox not checked.
I land on a checkbox here that says make this a monthly
I would like make this a monthly gift checkbox.
gift. Again, I'll hit space.
Space. I would like to be charged monthly group. Make this a monthly gift checkbox checked.
You can now see that in here that the checkbox is checked. So X will move us by checkboxes. C will move us by combo boxes. A good example of a combo box is when you're filling out your address, the state drop down. So let's hit C for combo.
Give combo box monthly.
So here's a combo box saying how often do you want to give, monthly.
Enter combo box.
Well, you can only do monthly.
Escape virtual PC on combo box monthly.
Now, let me give you an example. Let's say, and this happens, we're filling out this form
Join and
and
support.
somehow I just lost focus. My JAWS, for some reason, jumped me away from my form. So I'm no longer in the form. I'm still on the page here,
Same page link skip to main
but
content.
now I realize, crud, somehow I got up to the top of the page. Well, I could start to down arrow and try to find it again, but if I remember, the last thing I was doing in that form was that combo box that said, how often do you want to give it? So the best way for me to get back to my form so I can continue is just do my C again.
Give combo box monthly.
And now I'm right back to where I was, so I can continue moving on through my form. So using those using those elements to get you back to where you need to be can also be a really good skill.
We're out of time.
And we're out of time. Okay, last, just show one more real quick, and that's button. B for button. We filled out this form. We're ready to submit it. I'll hit B for button.
Donate button.
And you see we jump right down to the donate button. So again, rather than using those arrow keys, we could have gotten to this donate button by going down, 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 but we were able to skip all those other form fields, hit B and jump right to the first button on this page. If this wasn't the button we wanted, we could simply hit B again.
Wrapping to top. Search button.
And we heard wrapping to top. So that told us that there was no more buttons on this page. It took us back to the top of the page and then found the first button it found here, which happened to be search button, and landed on it, B again.
Donate button.
And we're right back. So that tells me there's 2 donate buttons here.
Space. Speech on demand.
All right, so
right.
quick review. So these are the 2 strategies that we've done today. The arrow keys, moving up and down, great way to learn the structure of a page, but not very efficient. And then the second strategy was to start using the elements or the pieces of a web page, headings, buttons, edit boxes, to more quickly navigate to those specific areas so that you can skip over stuff you don't care about.
And
Any questions before
we do have a couple of questions that we want
What
to
time
get
is
to.
it?
It's just coming up to 12.
Okay, let me should I give the exit code really quick for those that might be on a
let's
time?
do the exit code.
And then we'll do questions,
go
just
for
in
it.
case. Exit code today is cleaner.
Oh.
You might have thought it was going to be reader, but it's not. It's
Tricky.
cleaner. C-L-E-A-N-E-R. Closing code today for ACVREP credit is cleaner.
So now we know who's been watching all the way through and who hasn't.
Sure do's.
Okay.
All right, let's switch over. Let's do some questions really quick. For those who need to go, thanks for joining us. Remember, part 2 will be in 2 weeks, but get out of here if you have to go.
All right, so a couple of things. A couple of questions here, first of all. We have a question from a long-term listener and presumably fan, Jason Everett.
Well, he's got to be a fan.
He must
Number
be at this
one.
point. Either that or he just watches because he wants to kind of calls himself pain.
That's true.
Yeah.
Could be.
Self-flagellation type of deal. But Jason asks, can you discuss any issues you may have heard regarding JAWS 2020 and Windows 10's latest update, especially with respect to audio and chipset drivers and freeze-up issues? Corey, I feel like you've been having some of these issues yourself.
Yeah, so 2 things that are freeze-ups, that's always been sort of common with JAWS. I mean, I probably reboot or have some kind of freeze-up multiple times a day. There's just, unfortunately, there is not much that I can do about that. It just happens. It's part of using a screen reader. But specific to the chipset, the audio chipset, there is a big issue going on with, and I, for the life of me, I cannot think of the chipset provider off the top of my head, although it's the same audio, pretty much the chipset that every single audio card uses at this point. There is a bug where, for efficiency's sake, sound cards are going to sleep really quick to try to save power. And what happens then when you're a screen reader user, and it goes to sleep like within 10 seconds of no sound being played, which means when you then go to your screen reader and give any command, that first little bit of sound is cut off. So a lot of times you miss the first thing that the screen reader says because it's that sound card's waking up, but it's missing that bit of that screen reader, what it was saying. The only real workaround that I have found so far is there is a small program, and you can email us at infocus@vision-forward.org, and I can send you a link, but there's a program that you can install that continuously plays silence in the background so it keeps the sound card active and live as long as you've got the computer on, so it doesn't fall asleep and you don't have that issue.
Sounds like an oxymoron. It's playing the sound of silence.
Yes. It's Simon and Garfunkel. Sound of silence that just keeps playing over and over.
That would be a great little program. Okay, excellent. Thank you. We have a question from Greg, who asks, so while you were navigating menus earlier, Corey, we came across the term nesting level.
Oh, good question.
And Greg asks, what is a nesting level and why would he use that information?
Sure. So great question, because it is, so a nested level is basically a list within a list. So I'm going to give that example that we showed there on that page. So I was on a list. There was 5 main options in that list. I hit enter on services, which was the second option. That popped up 3 new options. So those 3 new options are a nested list, or a list within that main list of 5. Now, let's say the second option of that nested list also has 3 options underneath that one. That would be a nested list within a nested list within a list. So basically, think of them as sub-lists within the list that you're currently navigating through. And so really all that means to you is, from a screen reader standpoint, is it tells you that, okay, this next group, if you hear nested list, that tells you that these next couple options are specific to whatever the main kind of list you heard prior to hearing nested list. It's easier to demonstrate than it is to talk, so hopefully I didn't confuse you more than you already are.
Excellent. And Edgar Allan Poe wrote about a dream within a dream.
Oh, I thought we had a
oh, no, that would be amazing. He was like, yo.
Nevermore.
He wrote about a dream within a dream, and a nesting level is a list within a list.
Yes,
So
exactly.
somebody should
He had
probably.
he knew something.
Yeah, he was onto something. All right, Dave Hyde. He has 2 first names according to Zoom.
Okay.
Dave. Also, it's all one word. So
Yes.
I hope that's real. Dave
It
Hyde.
is Dave. He's from Janesville.
Oh no, but I hope his first name is Dave.
It is.
Good.
No, it's not.
He says that the button command, as in to navigate by button,
Yeah.
does not work with JAWS and Firefox. Is there any way of fixing it?
Huh, I was unaware of that, Dave. Let me test it when we're done here, and I'll shoot you an email because I've not seen that's not working. So let me take a peek for you, and we'll figure out if it's a Firefox, if it's a certain version of Firefox, certain version of JAWS. We'll find out. Stay tuned for everyone else. We'll have an answer for you in 2 weeks.
Excellent. And Greg also says, can you disable autofill on web pages? It is very annoying.
Yeah, within Chrome you can. Greg, shoot me an email at infocus@vision-forward.org, and I'll send you some instructions. Underneath the Chrome menu, we can turn off autofill. It really can be annoying. You're right.
All right, so we're pretty much ready to wrap up here, but just a quick thing. Corey, did you mention at the start that people can access our resources page to...
No, I didn't.
Okay, so for the people who are still here, which is a good number,
Good.
we can, if you want some extra resources about what we've been talking about today, we do have a resources page on which we put resources from each Tech Talk Live. And we only started doing it last time, so there's only 2 on there so far, the second one of which is a PDF or a Word document of what we've been talking about today, various internet strategies, including stuff that we'll be talking about next time as well. So feel free to go there and download that. And,
A lot of really good information.
Yeah, and the best way to get there is to go to vision-forward.org/Tech Talk Live, and you will find a section called Resources, and there should be a link to those resources there. So please feel free to go ahead and get that. Jason says, when can we get the recording? The answer to that, Jason, is right now, because we are live streaming on YouTube. So all of these sessions now are going live onto YouTube, and so are available immediately.
Usually, though, I think I've found with YouTube that it's usually going to take maybe 24 hours
to
before
process.
it processes it. So maybe 24 hours or so. Head over, that's a good segue.
Oh, yeah, very good.
Head over to youtube.com/infocus technology. That's INFOCUS technology. And you'll find all of our videos. We do post videos every Friday. Tech Talk Live weeks, as in today, this week, the Friday video will be this Tech Talk Live session. Next week, we obviously don't have a Tech Talk Live, so you'll get kind of a Tech Talk video that we do, usually 10 minutes or less, and it's specific, demonstrating a product. So it's more of a produced review of a product versus us hanging out and having a good time. But you'll find all the videos there at youtube.com/infocus technology.
Yes, you will. And with that, we thank you for watching. It's been another fun session, and we look forward to seeing you in 2 weeks' time when we will be carrying on this discussion about strategies for internet navigation. In the meantime, I hope you all have a wonderful couple of weeks, and we look forward to seeing you then. Goodbye.
Bye, all.